CSA is often called the PhD of farming. It requires farmers to be experts at growing, washing, and storing dozens of different crops each season. Creating and executing a crop plan that yields consistent, bountiful boxes of produce takes a tremendous amount of skill and a high level of production experience. In other words, CSA can be a very difficult model for beginning farmers who may just be getting started on their journey of growing food well. One question we really want farmers to consider before getting into CSA is whether or not they have the production skills to grow a diverse number of products well, or at the very least, if they have a plan in place for how they will develop these skills very quickly. In this video, we're going to help you understand why experience is important for both your individual CSA farm and the CSA movement as a whole. We're going to share two different stories to help you understand the broad spectrum of what gaining production experience can look like, and then follow that up with a few other examples of how you can gain the production skills essential for CSA success. Finally, we'll ask you to evaluate how this all makes you feel and whether or not CSA is the best fit for your level of knowledge at this particular moment in time. Like we said at the beginning of this video, CSA farming is hard. It's highly complex, it has a lot of moving parts, and it requires a working understanding of how to grow, process, and store at least 30 or 40 different crops. Understanding how to get a crop from seed to CSA box is a long and winding process with individual procedures required for each and every vegetable. Ensuring your CSA members receive a substantial amount of food for 10, 15, or 20 weeks straight, and also ensuring those crops are high quality, takes an exceptional amount of time, labor, and knowledge. And if you want happy customers that return to your farm year after year, building a good CSA box of high quality produce is essential. Starting a CSA farm with minimal experience will teach you a lot, but it will likely also burn a lot of bridges along the way. Customers may become unhappy because you failed to meet their expectations. CSA members may leave your farm and never try CSA again. They may assume every CSA farm is the same and the experience you gave them is common across the CSA movement. When a farm opts into the CSA model, it is tremendously important that they understand the larger implications of that decision and take the responsibility seriously. So how do you go about gaining that experience? How do you prepare yourself for the complex madness of owning your own CSA farm? For me, starting my farm looked like this. I first fell in love with farming in 2010. I had an internship on a small farmette that was run by my college. The following year, I got another internship, this time with a farming organization called Fair Share CSA Coalition. I met many of the CSA farmers there and learned a lot about how CSA is a very viable way to make a living while farming. I started working on one of the member CSA farms to see if CSA was really right for me. And it really was. I completely fell in love with CSA and made it my life goal as my profession. Working closely with the farm owner, from seeding to harvesting, from weeding to packing boxes, I devoured it all. In 2014, I moved to a crew management position and was offered an acre of land on the farm to start my own CSA. I took the jump. When I reflect back on my early years as a CSA farmer, I have a tremendous amount of gratitude to my mentor farmers for lessening the steep learning curve of production. I knew how to grow 40 different crops pretty well, and I really leaned into the knowledge of my production experience. Going into a CSA management position after 3 years of labor on other farms really helped wrap my brain around all of the minute production details and intricacies of CSA harvest and packing.
My name is Sarah Leong. I am half of Squashington Farm. We're out of Mount Horeb, Wisconsin, and we run a CSA and farmers market farm. We started our CSA in 2016, and combined we had about 1 season of farming under our belts, some tractor driving, seeding, and harvesting, but knew essentially nothing of greenhouse production, crop planning, or executing a CSA. Neither of us had any management experience. We figured we would just focus on farmers market production to get comfortable growing food. We had always really loved the aspects of CSA, primarily the community, and definitely planned to do it eventually, but we didn't think we could pull it off from a production standpoint. After meeting another farm couple doing a market-style CSA, it shifted our perspective. We realized we could run a market-style CSA as an extension of our farmers market, so we decided to take on 23 members our first year. And we ended up growing enough of most products for everyone to have one of everything, but when we didn't, the market style setup made it easy to give them a choice between 2 other things. Even with a market style CSA, it was still difficult without any formal experience. Things tended to work out, but there were a lot of trial and error and we made lots of mistakes. We learned on the job and put in a lot of extra labor as we learned. We didn't always do things the most efficient, logical, or right way, but we were always willing to go the extra mile to learn how to run our business. Dedication to our CSA and determination to succeed made it possible. We also relied heavily on our local community, so we asked a lot of questions of a lot of people in our early years, and we still do. To supplement, we spent a lot of time Googling best practices and solutions to problems we were having. It's definitely possible to start a CSA, especially with a market style, without a ton of experience, but you'll have to make up for that lack of knowledge in sweat labor and long hours.
We chose to share both my and Sarah's story because they show very different paths and entry points into CSA. I took the cautious and pragmatic route. When I began growing vegetables for my CSA, it didn't necessarily feel easy, but I always felt like I knew what I was doing. That's not Sarah's story. She shows you don't have to manage someone else's CSA farm or even work for one before you get started. But as Sarah's story also illustrates, it took a tremendous amount of work and self-management. Sarah and her farming partner were highly motivated, had impeccable standards, and surrounded themselves with all the resources they needed to execute at a high level. They didn't have years of experience to draw from, so they had to rely on more outside input, be it from books, videos, friends, and mentors. And it wasn't always comfortable or easy. Both are fine entry points to CSA. Both strategies will work better for certain types of individuals. And these are just two of the most common ways to gain the knowledge essential for running a successful CSA farm. Next, we're going to walk you through some other ways folks gain solid production experience before diving into their CSA businesses.
Hi, my name is Kristen Pearson. I own and operate Pearson Organics. We are a family-owned farm in Lake City, Minnesota. We grow about 10 acres of vegetables currently for sale, mostly through a CSA program. We serve about 350 families in southern Minnesota. We also sell at the Rochester Farmers Market, Lake City Farmers Market, and have some wholesale accounts. When I was leaving college, I opted to find an apprenticeship instead of going right into starting my own business. So I found a job as an apprentice at Crystal Spring Farm in Brunswick, Maine. And I was an apprentice there for 2 seasons. During my first season, I participated in a management rotation where myself and the other 3 apprentices all rotated through the 4 management jobs on the farm. Those were greenhouse, harvest, field, and livestock manager. During that time, we were in charge of making sure that all of the tasks in that area were accomplished for the week. Like as the harvest manager, we would come up with the harvest list for the week. One of the big benefits for me as an apprentice was getting to learn some skills that I don't think I would have had the opportunity to be trained on in just a traditional hourly job. I pretty much based my entire crop plan and, systems for harvest and greenhouse off of the farm at Crystal Spring. And so getting up and running was definitely a lot easier than it might have been otherwise.
So my name is Louis Lore. This is my wife, Kia Cheng, and over here is my son, who we farm at the Big River Farm, and our farm name is the Early Birds. We have been doing vegetables for Big River Farm in their CSA, their wholesale accounts, and then also we have some farmers market that we sell our produce to.
Hi, my name is Matt Frank. I am the market specialist at Big River Farms, and we're a program of a larger nonprofit that's based in the Twin Cities in Minnesota called the Food Group. Big River Farms itself is a 150-acre certified organic farm. We provide access to land and other farming resources to beginning farmers, and our main focus is on providing that support to farmers who have historically been and continue to face systemic barriers to successful agriculture businesses because of things like systemic racism or xenophobia or sexism. And then the main market that we provide our farmers is an aggregated CSA model or cooperative CSA model that we host. So the difference from a typical CSA that might be operated by an individual farmer is that we source and contract produce for our CSA from all of the farmers who are interested in being a part of our CSA program. Farmers get to choose the number of produce and the type of produce items that they like to grow.
So we like this model of the CSA, the way that it was set out to allow us to grow a few things that we specialize in. We learned how to provide produce to the CSA from the other farmers from Big River Farms.
In addition to providing land, we have an education program that focuses on teaching farmers how to farm organically, how to do record keeping, how to start their own small farming business. So that's kind of a unique model that we have at Big River Farms.
My name is Noah, and my partner and I, Mary, we farm on 10 acres here in Montana on a place we call Sweet Root Farm. Our first year farming, Mary and I didn't have much experience at all. We decided we wanted to have a small farm, and we met a landowner who was interested in basically having us on her place. We fenced about a 1/4 acre. We grew about 30 or 40 crops that first year. It was so much work, and we produced so much, we started selling some produce. At the end of that year, we decided we wanted to keep going. So that next year for us, we just went to the farmer's market. At that farmer's market, we took everyone's email list, everyone who would talk to us. Our offerings were not consistent. They were quite small with our small little 10 by 10 tent. Now we have a whole market trailer that we take with a team of 3 people. That really allowed us to meet our community, gain experience, really understand what people wanted, and that there was an appetite for local food, local good food grown organically. And then that next year, we just did a small traditional CSA. It was 15 households. It was exactly enough money for us to build our first walk-in cooler. Mary and I have always said that if we were smarter, we would have done a year or 2 or 3 as interns. And it's ironic now because folks we have working at part of the farm now, we have our first year-round employee. They have that experience, but we didn't. So it was necessary for us to start small. And then we gradually, as we grew and as our confidence grew and as our growing practice grew, we enlarged that. Last year, we were at 60 members, 65 households. And this year we went right to 100. We were nervous jumping up to 100, but I mean, it was no problem.
Hi, I'm Kelly Lagman of One Seed Farm. After a year of self-learning through books, videos, so many farm workshops, and flying blindly on new land, I was accepted into the Moses Mentorship program for 2017. As not only a beginning farmer and small business owner, but also new to vegetable production, this program was immensely beneficial. The year began with short and long-term goal setting, early season technical support, on-site visits, production skill advice, and variety recommendations. Thanks to an ideally matched farm mentor, Casey Dahl. Casey's patient, non-judgmental approach gave me the confidence and tools to implement a small CSA business model, as well as start a basic pastured poultry operation.
In this video, we explained the importance of production experience when beginning a CSA venture and shared multiple ways to gain that experience. We hope this helped you understand that growing high-quality produce is essential to both an individual farm and the overall CSA movement's long-term success. We also hope this helped you see an entry point that may work for you if CSA is something you're hoping to start in upcoming years. Before moving on to the next video, take some time to consider whether or not you feel you have the skills to move forward with CSA on your own, or if one of the stories shared aligns with how you'd like to move into farming.